Isaac Paredes ended up being the American League Player of the Week.
He had a week.
After he hit 5 home runs, had 9 RBI, and I think it was a total of
Two,
almost
three.
2,100 OPS.
No, I think it was it? Oh, was it 2035 or 2335? I think it's
saw that it was
2035. Yeah.
2093. So I'm
not 2093. That's probably
I'm
what
just
it
gonna
was. Yeah.
round it up to 21
Yeah.
fucking
It,
hundred for an OPS, which is
it was epic.
insane.
It was an epic week.
I think he has 8 or 9 home runs in the season, which he didn't have that in his entire Tiger career. Yeah, that'd be there's some weird things going on with Paredes. You could explain some things away, but it's a bit unfair to maybe blame Avila for this trade, and it's already a complete bust of a trade just after 1 week and some success for Paredes, but he just never showed any of this with Detroit. But is it because he's in a more hitter-friendly ballpark in Tampa? I don't know. I mean,
Is
is
it?
he?
Is it a hitter-friendly ballpark?
I don't. It's better than Comerica Park, I can tell you that. But the other mitigating factor, and this might be a little bit of, I don't know, speaking out of turn, or things are kind of creeping out after somebody leaves the organization. But there's a lot of things flying around Detroit that Isaac Paredes refused to get in shape while he was a Tiger, even though he was encouraged to do so. And he suddenly looks like quite the specimen in Toronto or in Tampa. So there's some question about his motivation to even want to be a Tiger. And maybe he was trying to get traded out of the organization. I don't know if that's true. But the other side of this trade, of course, is the Austin Meadows side of it, which I don't know if you remember this. I didn't even bring this up last or 2 weeks ago when I was bashing on Avila, but at the end of spring training, right as the trade was made, I mentioned that Austin Meadows had sat out a couple of games due to tired legs.
Yeah, and I had
from
made
driving too much.
right.
That was his excuse.
I remember that, and I remember I made a comment like,
Yeah,
it seems weird. Like he set out to a couple games. Does Tampa know something that the Tigers don't?
that is the question that has rung throughout Detroit ever since that moment. I didn't think much of it at the time, but yes, you were prescient with that question.
Yeah, and maybe it was a double Achilles injury that was the green. Or...
Hold on. We're getting ahead of ourselves here because I want to go through the litany of ailments that Austin Meadows has had.
Well, he has he's got the vertigo or the
in
dementia or something. I don't know.
In the 2+ months that he's been a Tiger, he has suffered from tired legs from driving too much. He had a sinus infection that led eventually to vertigo.
Vertigo. Okay. Great Hitchcock film, by the way. If you guys haven't seen it,
he then contracted COVID, which immediately put him back on the IL or the COVID list. And as soon as he was ready to do a rehab stint, it was supposed to be this week, and then he would be ready for this weekend against Kansas City. He suddenly came up lame with not one but 2 Achilles injuries to his
Achilles,
both his left and right Achilles, while he was doing nothing but recovering from COVID.
Maybe he was out driving.
He may have been driving too much. That just popped in my head after all this, the driving thing, because I had forgotten about that.
Oh, God.
This guy, he's played just a handful of games. He's actually looked fairly solid, especially his first week or so, the main week that he played. But he had 0 home runs in the season for a guy that had 27 last year. This looked like a fantastic trade at the time in my mind, and I was on record to say it was an outstanding trade, and everyone was fired up about it in Detroit. So it's just kind of amazing that things have turned so badly in this trade. It's one thing to have Austin Meadows flame out for bizarre, the litany of bizarre reasons that he has not been able to perform on the field so far, but then to have Isaac Paredes to be the AL Player of the Week at the exact same moment is just irony that I can barely handle. My question is, have you ever heard of 2 Achilles injuries at the same time?
No.
I've never heard. I've heard an Achilles strain, here and there, but how can you possibly strain both Achilles? Did he fall out of a building? Is that news that's going to come out?
He jumped. You're going to find out that he jumped from the 10th floor
Yeah.
and landed.
So it's miraculous he's even alive. So we
Yeah.
should be thankful that he could possibly recover from these injuries. But
Yeah, no, I don't know how you injure both Achilles, because normally, like, part of the reason you get an Achilles injury is because you're putting more pressure on one
favoring
leg
one leg.
versus
Yeah, yeah.
the other, right?
He's favoring his arms, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah. So, um, funny thing is, this whole topic of that trade, and you course correcting me, which is right, on social media, that uh, I I didn't say the trade was necessarily bad. I just was
Oh, but
like,
you were bragging all about how
well,
bad you
I
thought
think
that trade was, but you misremembered.
there's another episode
Oh,
later
a
on.
lost episode that I didn't record and
No,
post
no, no, no.
on
There's
MajorLeagueAholes.com.
one a little later, after I think
All right.
Paredes had 2 home runs, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe it was a bad trade because Meadows wasn't doing anything. Whatever.
I-
But you were correct. You were correct. Where I questioned, I said Paredes had a lot of upside, but when I re-listened to the
well, you
when I
went on
wa-
social media this week dunking on everyone, saying that you said all along that this was a terrible trade, which is what
yeah,
I
no,
called
I
you
know
called you
why
out for.
I know why
So
you called me out.
I know you know. I'm telling the fucking
Uh,
podcast listeners. So
don't rub it
just
in my face, boy.
I'm rubbing it in your face.
Wordhole Media.